Hey guys, I'm
Hello,
Jacqueline,
Marcella.
and we are here to talk about some news that just dropped. We are super excited to talk through because we are having very mixed feelings on, if you have not heard, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas is becoming a TV show on Hulu.
Yay! So this is very exciting news. I feel like
Actually,
initially it's like excitement, and then when you kind of think about it, it's like nervousness.
actually, it was the opposite for me. When I first
Oh, were
saw
you nervous first and then excited?
my reaction was like, oh shit. Like
No,
literally.
I was excited first. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I kind of thought about it and I was like,
No,
this
I
doesn't
was
always
like,
go the way we want it.
oh no, because all I could think about was like Shadowhunters. Like I don't want it to go that way where it's like another one of like my favorite series is done terribly. Like that's what I was scared about. And then I thought more through it, and then I saw who was on board, and I read Sarah J. Maas's post, and then I got excited because she is involved. She is writing.
Yeah.
She's helping
And
write
I
the
feel like
pilot.
that's the most important thing with adaptations is like how much say the author is going to have throughout the whole process of the show, because if it's somebody like Cassie who only really got a say like in the casting a little bit, she really didn't have any say in like what they were actually doing on the show. That's why that steered so far away from the book series, and we didn't enjoy that at all. So I feel like that's an example of like something that went so bad. And there's like other movies that like got turned into that were books that got turned into movies, like the Percy Jackson movies. Those were like,
Yeah.
oh.
That's going to be a TV show as well eventually, which will be
Yes,
very
but Rick is on board with that. So like I'm not really nervous about that.
yeah. Once you hear that the author's involved, like I'm so excited about Leigh Bardugo being involved with the Shadow and Bone, like the Grisha books that the Grisha show that is coming out next month,
Mm-hmm.
which we're super excited for Shadow and Bone. Of course, the trailer looks phenomenal. It looks like it's going to be really good. It looks just like the book, so I'm happy. I'm happy about that, and I'm very happy with casting on that. So I feel like there's adaptations. Like it literally is like a road, and it could go either awful or good. And I feel like I'm also very excited that the people involved. What is his name? Ron. What's his name? He does Outlander. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now. Ron Moore, there you go. Ron Moore is involved with it. And if you guys don't know, he does Outlander. I know he's also done Star Trek, but Outlander is one of our all-time favorite shows. That show also has a lot of like sexy times, which is a good thing because Court of Thorns and Roses does. It's not gonna be it's gonna go like I'm hoping it goes like the Bridgerton route because we love the adaptation for Bridgerton, and I'm like
Mm-hmm.
a huge fan of Julia Quinn. I love her. I love her books. So we were very happy with the way Bridgerton was done. And even though like it was a little bit different, I was still really as a whole, I was like, this is great. It
Mm-hmm.
worked out perfectly. And I was very excited for how it's opened the door to other adaptations being done. I think it's opened the door for other romance genres. And I think it's shown the world that there is an audience to watch these romance books be adapted, and everybody wants to see that stuff. So I think what happened was I feel like Hulu was like Netflix is doing a great job with adaptations. I want to try it.
Yeah,
and
literally. I'm like, I
and
don't want to do that.
like that's a good idea. You know, they had To All the Boys, which they did a great job with. To All the Boys I love before that trilogy, they did a great job with that. So I feel like Hulu wants in on it, which obviously makes sense because streaming platforms they all kind of compete with each other. So it makes sense, but I'm just like so nervous because like A Court of Mist and Fury, you guys, like to spoil the books, there's a lot of like sexy times, like not to spoil the books, but there is a lot of sexy times, and they have the wingspans, like there's like wings, like flying, and then you think
I'm
of like,
excited to see the effects of that.
yeah,
I'm
but
not
also
sure how that's gonna go, but
like how are they gonna do those scenes like without it looking like corny on screen? Like that's what I'm like so
yeah.
scared about. Like that's what I'm scared about. And you know, and then I think like, oh my god, the first season needs to be good, because if it's not good, then we're not going to get a season 2. I mean,
That's what's scary is the first season
we're
needs
not
to
going
be
to get
good
the
enough
real.
where like we get a season 2 and it can get better from there.
We're not going to have Cassian, Azriel, Moore, Amryn, like all of like the Night Court, like Valeris. We're not going to see that until season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
we need to get there because I want to see that.
Yeah, I'm really interested about what they're going to do with casting, because there is no man alive, I feel like, who could play Reese. Like, Reese is
I am so nervous.
like, who's going to be Reese? God bless that actor who's going to have to fill those shoes, because that is
I'll
a
be the
hard
guy on the edits.
The guy in all the edits.
Like, I don't know. That I feel like it's always so weird when like the guys that you like in like books, when they get adapted and it's like an actual person. It's strange because it's like you have this idea in your mind for so long of what the characters look like, not even like guy characters, but like female characters as well. And you have this picture in your head, and then you see them like the actual actor that gets casted, and sometimes it's really like good, and then sometimes it's like like I didn't really think that's how they looked. I mean, I think the most important thing though is that they can act.
Yeah.
As well. Because like even if somebody looked exactly like Reese perfectly, if they don't embody his personality and him as a character, it's not going to work. Yeah. So I feel like that's even more important.
And Reese is somebody who has a very loud personality, and
exactly,
especially like how are they going to do certain scenes in Acotar? Like at the end of Acotar with like the bargaining and like the tattoos, like, and then there's a lot of like, okay, so I was like thinking in A Court of Mist and Fury, there is a lot of mental health representation, which is really great. And they Sarah J. Maas writes that beautifully every time. She's done that like I think like 3 different times at this point with like Nesta, Feyre, and Aelin, and she does such a good job of showing that arc. But a lot of that is mental, like a lot of that is like in your head, and we're not going to be in Feyre's
struggles.
Head.
That's where it's hard for them to translate that on screen, where we can understand what they're feeling.
Yeah.
When like we can't hear their thoughts. Yeah. That's what's hard about adaptations.
Yeah, exactly. That's why a lot of people always prefer the books. But I think
we're still gonna, even if it's like amazing, we're always gonna, I feel like the books are always better no matter what.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that like over time, like you guys, like we've been through the adaptation world. Like we were there during like Harry Potter, like we grew up on Harry Potter, so we were there for the Hunger Games. We were in high school during like the Twilight era. Like we've seen adaptations, and then how it was like the next big thing, like there was Divergent, there was The Fault in Our Stars, there was all these different adaptations that were being like thrown at everybody. And I just like, so I feel like one thing that we've learned through going all these adaptations and seeing our favorite books become movies and TV is I think that you always know that the books will never change. Like always know that no matter what happens on the show, the books will always be the books. And it doesn't really make a difference. It's just a new form of media to consume. It's if you want it or not. Like it's just it's opening a new door of what you already have. Like the books are canon, like that is real, like that is what it is. And no adaptation can change it.
That's good advice. Yeah. I also think that also keep your expectations low. That way maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Exactly. Like I think it's a good thing that everybody's like so nervous, and I saw like I am so excited with who's on board with it. I think that Outlander, I feel like it's so bad, but we have yet to read the Outlander books, and we plan to. Like that is like goal. Like we need to get to that.
It's crazy that we haven't read it. We really need to.
But I feel like the general consensus in like that the Outlander fandom is that the show is the faithful adaptation. And I've read bits and pieces of the books. We have like read bits and pieces of it, like in the beginning, like the first like couple hundred pages or whatever. And I actually went and I started reading some of Drums in Autumn at one point. And I feel like they do a good job. Like it's good. And I've like seen like certain quotes and stuff that are on the books are also in the show. So I feel like the team on board is just great. Like the people that are on board and doing it are really, really good. It's not like they've never dealt with an adaptation before. I mean, we are going to have to deal with a lot of people who are super excited about Tamlin, which is going to be really funny. Like, people are going to be like,
yeah, I mean, don't give any spoilers in case people haven't read the book.
yeah, I don't want to give any spoilers, but like, just wait till Reese comes around, you guys. I think, and that's just going to be really funny to, for us as people who have read all the books to see how like the fan base in general is going to like perceive everything and how they're going to take it. And I mean,
it's always interesting when you are watching something that's being adapted and it was a book and you read the book and then you see everybody else come in who's like loving it, who hasn't read the book. It's always interesting to see what they think because they're like completely like they don't know anything. So it's always very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like you feel like we're like psychic, like we know the future, kind of like we know things that are gonna happen.
If they follow the books, then we know the future. If they go off course, then we're clueless too.
It says that this is what they're saying the Acotar series is about. It says the show blends epic romance, adventure, and political intrigue in a tale of a huntress who agrees to travel to a magical realm with a fairy lord in return for her family's safety, only to fall for him and ultimately fight for that love. That's a good summary. That's basically what A Court of Thorns and Roses is the first.
Yeah, that's basically the synopsis for that book.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were kind of like annoyed that they didn't hint at Reese, like say something like nothing is like it seems. Like I know people like in the comments were kind of like saying that, like they kind of
probably didn't because
they don't want to spoil it.
They don't want to spoil it. They want there to be some surprises along the way in the season. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like feel happy with the people that are involved. Like that's what I just keep going back to. Like whenever like I start to think like, oh my god, how are they going to adapt this? And there's also like the magic elements of it. There's parts where eventually people communicate through their mind, like they talk in each other's heads. Like
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do that. But I mean, we have like the technology that we have now is so advanced, and like I feel like they'll be able to do that.
I think
it'll look really good.
I think so. I think it'll be really interesting to see. And I is there any people like that you could think of who you want to be casted, like fan casted, like mentally, like in your head?
No, I would have to think. I can't think about that off the top of my head.
I was trying to think like who would I want to play these people, and I couldn't think of anybody because I have such a distinct like picture in my mind because we've been reading these books since they've come out. So like I have such a mental picture of who they are to me. I want them to do what they did with Bridgerton. What they did with Bridgerton is they found people who are like totally new and they casted them and it worked out great. Like I want them to find, and I think they did that.
I feel like it would be great if they could find like a fresh, like new faces that are really talented. That would be good.
Yeah, and I think like even with like the Grisha cast, like the only like popular one I'm pretty sure is Ben Barnes. Like everybody else is kind of new and I think it works for them. Like I think the cast is really good because they're new to it, and I think it's just gonna open it opens the door for new actors as well to kind of come onto the scene and get that experience. And I wonder if like this is gonna open the door for her to get eventually like Throne of Glass involved in a TV show, because I remember back in the day that was talked about, and I think
it was like a rumor.
Yeah, and it was going to be called like Queen of Shadows, and it was going to be on Hulu as well, and that eventually got like scraped out. So like I wonder if this is going to kind of open the door, because I would love to see Throne of Glass adapted as a TV show. I think that would be that'd be really cool.
One thing at a time. We have one thing to be nervous about.
I know. Like honestly though, like when I think about it, I think I would have preferred to have Throne of Glass become like an HBO show or something really cool like that. But you know, like I don't know, like Acotar is just like they all wear masks in Acotar. Like how are they gonna show that where it's like
oh yeah.
Like visually, like I'm just so scared of it like being done right.
They have some challenges.
They really do.
We will see. I'm very excited. I'm nervous, but yeah, I think it'll be okay.
Let us know your thoughts. How do you guys feel about this series being adapted? Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you just not going to watch it?
Yeah, let us know how you're dealing with this news down in the comments below. And if you have any recommendations for any other book videos that you'd like to see, definitely let us know about that down in the comments below as well. And we are doing a book club. We have a book club video explaining it a little bit more in detail, but right now we're reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. So that's been really fun. You can come join us with that.
Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye.